back to the channel. We got a fun article for you today. It's titled 31 Facts About the Middle Ages That Are 100% True Despite Being Quite Weird. As you can see from the art here, there's a unicorn. It says, due to mistranslation, medieval people commonly believed that the Bible likened Jesus to a unicorn, and so a unicorn repeatedly popped up in religious medieval art. This article, written by Monica Pescante, says even if you have the most basic historical knowledge, you are probably aware of the period called the Middle Ages. Sadly, many think that it was a very dull time, which is very far from the truth. How could such a long period be tedious? So many things happened during it. Generally, the whole era is quite misrepresented. Well, let's take this list and medieval experts' observations as a chance to educate ourselves a little bit today, shall we? At number 1 on the list, a proper education was difficult to come by during medieval times. So if women wanted to receive a higher education, they had to join a convent. This led to the fact that many of the earliest female intellectuals were nuns. For example, Sister Juliana Morel is believed to be the first woman in the Western world ever to earn a university degree. At number 2, medieval books were made of parchment, a writing material made from specifically prepared untanned skins of animals. Preparation of a single skin was done by a professional parchmenter, and it took weeks, which was one of the reasons why books were so expensive at the time. Number 3, salt was very valuable in the Middle Ages, and sometimes it was referred to as white gold. And since it was so valuable, roads were built specifically for transporting it. One of the most famous of these roads was the Old Salt Route in northern Germany. At number 4, Charlemagne, a medieval emperor who ruled much of Western Europe from 768 to 1814, is now sometimes referred to as the father of Europe. But he is not only the father of Europe, he was a father to as many as 18 children of his own. Reportedly, he was a devoted father who encouraged his children's education and loved his daughters so much that he didn't let them marry while he was alive. At number 5, in the Middle Ages, metal sewing needles were owned only by the richest of women. Those who couldn't afford them used needles made from natural materials, bone, boar bristles, wood, and so on. At number 6, since the 13th century, animals, including insects, could be tried and convicted for crimes. If found guilty, they were sentenced to death. In such trials, they are used to be human witnesses and even lawyers. Fact 7. During the Black Death, so many sheep died that Europe experienced a wool shortage. Fact 8. Between the years 1315 and 1322, Western Europe suffered from incredibly heavy rainfall, up to 150 days of rain at a time. This made farmers struggle to plant, grow, and harvest crops, which meant that the staple food, bread, was in peril. Combined with brutally cold winter weather, around 10 to 15% of people in England died during this period. Fact number 9. Up to the Tudor Elizabethan ages, 1485 to 1603, swans used to be eaten by the aristocracy. The popularity as a dish ended when all swans in England were declared the property of the monarch. Fact number 10. In medieval Europe, inflated pig bladders were used as early footballs. Eventually, the bladder started getting covered in leather so it would stay round for longer. Fact number 11. There were various punishments for criminals in the Middle Ages. Some of them might sound very weird and kind of terrifying today. Apologizing while wearing a white sheet wearing animal masks and humiliating badges, being suffocated in mud, and some others. Fact number 12, in the mid-14th century, both men and women wore shoes called Krakow. They were named after the city Krakow in Poland. They also had other names such as Pauline or Pikes. The shoes were long, pointed, and spiked. Occasionally, these shoes were condemned by Christian writers of the time as demonic. Kings liked to tax them as luxuries, restricting their use to the nobility. Fact number 13. During the Middle Ages, tattoos had several functions. Some of them were used as a form of punishment for criminals. Others were gotten by Christian pilgrims to show off their devotion and to commemorate their journey to holy sites. Some professions or people from certain social statuses also got tattoos. For example, knights would get tattooed to show their allegiance to a particular lord or kingdom, while sailors would commemorate their experiences at sea. Fact number 14. The privileged class of the Middle Ages always wanted to flaunt their status through their belongings. Besides their money, they liked rare possessions that had to be sourced and transported from far away. Their possessions included such things as brightly colored silk, spices, and exotic animals like monkeys, tropical birds, and tigers. Fact 15. The term Dark Ages originated from Renaissance scholars who viewed ancient Greece and Rome as the most successful time period for humanity and looked down on the Middle Ages. They dismissed the latter period as a chaotic time of no great leaders, no scientific accomplishments, and no great art. Fact number 16. Medieval writers didn't write down their texts themselves, as at the time, writing or the work of a scribe was seen as a labor for not so clever people, so writers used to dictate their thoughts to scribes. Fact number 17. In medieval England, eels were a currency. The transactions varied from single digits to tens of thousands of eels. Peasants would use this fish to pay for a variety of things, including their rent. Eels were described to be, quote, somewhere in between a delicacy and an everyday item. The reasons why the transactions of eels died down are unknown. Fact number 18. In the medieval era, spectators of public executions hunted down artifacts associated with the condemned. For example, the hangman's noose, which was believed to hold special powers. Sick people would wrap the ropes around their heads as a cure for headaches and fevers. Gamblers and card sharps believed that owning a piece of a noose would keep them in good standing with Lady Luck. Fact number 19. Around 1000 AD, bezoars, hardened pearl-like clumps of indigestible matter that form in the stomach lining of animals, became known as a mystical good luck charms in Europe and Asia. They were worn as protective amulets, mounted in gold settings, and believed to have curing powers, or to be more precise, to contain a small remnant of toxin that could serve as an antidote to poisons. They were also believed to help with dysentery and epilepsy. During the Black Death, they were even laid on the bodies of plague victims in the hope of curing their sores. Fact number 20. Due to mistranslation, medieval people commonly believed that the Bible likened Jesus to a unicorn, so a unicorn repeatedly popped up in religious medieval art. Fact number 21. In the Middle Ages, people used to host theater performances, trials, local elections, and many other social activities in cemeteries. Fact number 22. In the Middle Ages, a disease called leprosy, now known as Hansen's disease, became visible in communities across England. It affects the skin, mucosal surfaces of the upper respiratory tract, and peripheral nerves and the eyes. Sometimes during medieval times, it was referred to as the living death, as its victims were often treated as if they were already dead. Funerals were organized to declare those with the disease dead to society, and after this, relatives were allowed to claim their inheritance. Fact number 23. During the medieval period, the length of a man's shoes reflected his social status. So to extend their shoes, some men used materials like whalebone. Fact number 24. Some scholars prefer the term medieval instead of Middle Ages because the latter makes the period sound like it was unimportant. Fact number 25. In 1314, football was officially banned in England for more than 30 royal and local laws. This was due to complaints by London merchants to King Edward II of England about great noise in the city caused by hustling over large balls from which evils may arise which God forbids. Fact number 26. In medieval times, mirrors weren't as reflective as they are now, so people went their lives without having a hazy idea of what they look like. Also, mirrors were considered luxury items and were owned mainly by upper-class women. Fact number 27. It is believed that the invention of mechanical clocks originated from the tower clocks built in the region between Germany and Italy between 1270 and 1300. Fact number 28. There were two main types of dances in medieval times. One was farandole, a line dance. It was danced with people holding hands, but the leader left their left arm free. The dancers moved in a winding labyrinth pattern, mainly clockwise, and the leader sometimes did other movements. The other type, a branle, was a side-by-side movement and was performed by partners, either in lines or circles, who alternated large sideways steps to the left with an equal number of smaller steps to the right. Fact number 29. The Tower of London was initially designed to be a battlement, but it became a prison after King Henry I assumed the throne in 1100. One of his first acts was to order the arrest of Ranulph Flambard, the Bishop of Durham. Fact number 30. People in the Middle Ages believed that bad weather could be caused by bad people who unalived others, got into incestuous relationships, started family quarrels, or simply performed other sins. Some also believed that bad weather could be caused by witches and sorcerers who aimed to destroy crops. And finally, fact number 31. During the heightened anxiety about the plague, rogue practitioners sometimes sold counterfeit medical remedies. Some of these counterfeit remedies prevented sick people from seeking more beneficial help, and some of them were even poisonous. Alright, there you have it. 31 facts about the Middle Ages that are 100% true despite being quite weird. The rule is if you felt like you learned something today, you gotta hit that big thumbs up button. Go ahead and smash that big like button to get this video in front of a few more eyes. I thank you for watching this one to the very end. Of course, if you enjoy this sort of content, please consider subscribing to the channel. We got fresh content coming out daily, so there's always something new for you to watch. Again, thanks for watching this one to the very end. I'm Brian Kingsbury. We'll talk to you on the next one. Bye.